The shelter was unusually quiet that Tuesday morning, the kind of quiet that made soft footsteps echo across the polished floors. Emily, exhausted from a long week of double shifts, walked in with her coffee, expecting another routine day of feeding, cleaning, and comforting the lonely animals tucked inside their kennels. But when she reached the puppy wing, she stopped. Bentley, an undersized golden mix puppy with floppy ears and gentle eyes, was sitting firmly at the front of his kennel, tail still, body alert. Not his usual wiggly, joyful greeting. Instead, he stared toward the entrance with a strange kind of focus, as if waiting for something only he understood. Emily frowned. "What's gotten into you today, buddy?" Bentley didn't look at her. Not even a glance. And that never happened. Minutes later, the front door chimed, and a man stepped in, quiet, hesitant, almost lost in his thoughts. The moment his shoes touched the lobby floor, Bentley sprang up, pawing at the gate, whining softly, his body trembling with a mixture of excitement and something deeper, something emotional. Emily watched, stunned. Bentley had seen plenty of visitors before. But this was different. The puppy wasn't simply excited, he was desperate, intentional, as if he'd been waiting for him. And when the man slowly approached the kennels, Bentley pressed his tiny body against the bars, letting out a small broken whimper that stopped Emily cold. She didn't know it yet, but what the dog sensed was far from ordinary. Before we continue, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more heart-touching dog stories. And tell me, where are you watching from? Morning light drifted through the front windows of the Maple Ridge Animal Shelter. Soft, pale, the kind of light that made dust float like tiny, quiet snowflakes. Emily pushed open the side door with her shoulder, balancing her keys, clipboard, and a cup that still smelled like fresh hazelnut coffee. She stepped inside and let the door fall shut behind her. The building was calm, just the low hum of the air system, and the faint, comforting scent of dog shampoo lingering from last night's bathing shift. She took a slow breath, letting the morning settle. Felt like any other day. She walked down the hallway toward the puppy wing, her sneakers whispering against the floor. But the moment she reached the kennels, she paused. Bentley was awake. Wide awake. He was normally the first puppy to wiggle, spin, and smack his little tail against the door like a drum. But today, he sat perfectly still at the front of his kennel, ears slightly raised, body tense, eyes fixed in one direction, the entrance hall behind her. "Hey, buddy," Emily whispered. She kept her voice soft, slow, just enough to ease into his space. Bentley didn't turn, not even a tiny glance. Emily stepped closer and crouched beside the bars. The puppy's breathing was light and fast. His nose twitched once, twice, like he was tasting the air. His tail stayed low, not tucked, but waiting, as if he was listening for something far beyond the quiet of the shelter. "You okay?" she murmured. Bentley's right paw lifted slightly, hovering, not anxious, alert. Emily followed his gaze toward the empty hallway behind her. Nothing there, just stillness. She felt a small knot in her chest. It wasn't fear, just concern, that instinctive tug you get when something isn't quite right. She stood slowly. "All right," she whispered. "Let's get your breakfast. Maybe you're just hungry." But Bentley didn't move. Not even when she unlocked the supply cabinet. Not when she opened the metal bin of puppy kibble. Not at the sound of his bowl being set down. He simply waited. Frozen. Focused. Facing the lobby. Emily exhaled long and soft. Something was off. She stepped out to check the intake board, hoping maybe he'd had a rough night. But his chart looked normal. Healthy vitals. Ate well yesterday. Played well. Slept fine. No notes. Nothing unusual. So she walked back to him, slower this time. And that's when it happened. Bentley's ears twitched. Just a tiny movement. Just enough to signal he heard something. Something she couldn't. A second later, the front door chimed. Bentley stood instantly. Not anxiously. Not playfully. Purposefully. His paws pressed to the metal gate. His body leaned forward. A soft, breathy whine slipped from his chest. Emily turned toward the lobby. A man had stepped inside. Mid-40s maybe. Quiet posture. Hands tucked into the pockets of a worn jacket. Eyes heavy, not tired but carrying something deeper. He looked unsure where to go. But Bentley didn't hesitate. The puppy's tail wiggled once. Not with excitement but recognition. A memory in motion. Then his body trembled just slightly as he shifted his weight closer to the door. Emily blinked. "Do you know him?" she whispered. Bentley pressed his nose through the bars, letting out another soft broken whine. The kind of sound a puppy makes when he's longing for something familiar. Emily stepped out to greet the man. "Hi there," she said gently. "Looking to visit today?" The man nodded once. His voice came out low. "Just looking around." He walked slowly toward the puppy wing, footsteps soft against the floor. And Bentley watched every step. His ears tilted forward. His breath quickened. His tiny claws gripped the edge of the gate. Emily stepped aside as the man came closer. When he reached Bentley's kennel, he paused. Bentley pressed his face into the bars, nose searching for the man's scent. He let out a small huff of breath. Then another. The man knelt down, hesitating, as if he wasn't sure he should be this close. But Bentley made the decision for him. The puppy lifted one paw and touched the man's sleeve through the bars. Just one gentle touch. The man swallowed. His shoulders softened. Just barely. Emily saw it, the shift in him. A soft ache. A sudden warmth. A gravity pulling him toward the puppy who wouldn't look at anyone else. "Looks like he really likes you," she said quietly. The man nodded but didn't speak. He just watched Bentley, eyes softening in a way that felt personal, almost painful, like the puppy reminded him of something he couldn't name yet. Bentley lowered his head and pressed his cheek against the bars. Slow, trusting, as if offering comfort. The man's voice cracked just slightly. "Hey, little guy." Emily felt her heartbeat pick up. Bentley had never reacted to anyone like this. Not once. Not with volunteers, families, or kids. Not with her. But this man? Bentley acted like he'd been waiting for him. All morning. Maybe longer. She stepped back, giving them space. The man stayed there, quiet, breathing slowly, while Bentley kept his paw pressed gently against him, refusing to look away. A stillness settled over the room. Soft. Warm. Almost sacred. Emily didn't know what it meant. Not yet. But something in her chest whispered that this moment wasn't random. Not coincidence. Not chance. Bentley had chosen him. And what the puppy sensed was far from ordinary. The next morning drifted in gently, wrapped in a cool breeze that brushed against the shelter's windows. Birds outside chirped softly, not loud, just enough to break the early quiet. Emily unlocked the door at 7:01 a.m., coffee steaming in her hand. A normal start. A peaceful start. She walked the familiar hallway, turned the corner into the puppy wing, and stopped. Bentley was waiting again, sitting in the exact same spot. Same posture. Same stillness. His eyes were already fixed on the hallway behind her, the lobby doors he couldn't even see from his kennel. Yet he stared as if he could feel something through the walls. Emily lowered her voice. "Bentley, what's going on with you lately?" The puppy didn't budge. He didn't wiggle. Didn't bark. Didn't show that bright morning puppy energy. He just waited. Emily walked to his kennel slowly. She crouched down. Bentley's tail moved, but only once. A soft side-to-side sway. Not excitement. More like acknowledgement. Then he lifted his nose gently, catching a scent she couldn't detect. "Are you expecting someone?" Bentley's ears tilted forward. Emily's breath caught for a moment. He was. She could feel it now, the same tension in his body as yesterday. Something instinctive. Something emotional. She checked his chart again, hoping maybe she'd missed a health concern. But everything looked normal. Normal puppy. Normal intake history. Normal behavior. Except this. This waiting. She finished the morning feeding rounds, though Bentley barely sniffed his bowl. She placed it beside him and stroked her fingers through the bars. "You'll eat when you're ready," she whispered. He didn't look away from the lobby. Emily sighed softly and moved on to the next kennel. Minutes rolled by. The shelter remained still, wrapped in that early morning quiet. Then, Bentley's ears twitched. A breath. A shift. The smallest sound only he seemed able to catch. Emily felt it before she heard it, that silent expectation humming in him. And then, the front door chimed. Bentley stood instantly, pressing both paws to the bars. His tail thumped once, firm, intentional. Emily turned toward the noise. The same man stepped inside. Same jacket. Same slow posture. Same heaviness in his eyes. He walked in quietly, like someone trying not to disturb the air around him. Bentley let out a soft cry. Not loud. Not frantic. Just a tiny aching sound that came from a place deeper than simple happiness. Emily watched the man step toward the front counter, offering a polite nod to another volunteer before drifting down the hallway, almost as if pulled by a feeling he didn't fully understand. When he reached the puppy wing, Bentley was already pressed against the bars, tail low, body trembling with recognition. Emily offered a gentle smile. "Morning," she said. The man gave a faint one back. "Morning." No explanation for why he was here again. No mention of adoption. No nervous small talk. He just walked straight to Bentley's kennel and knelt down. Bentley pressed his nose right to the man's jacket, inhaling deeply. Then he leaned his full body against the bars, trying to melt through them. The man exhaled, a slow, heavy breath. "You again," he whispered. Emily stood a few steps back, observing. Bentley's body language was clear, completely relaxed but deeply connected. His breathing slowed. His eyes softened. His little paws kept reaching for the man's sleeve, his touch cautious but sure. No other visitor had ever drawn this kind of focus from him. Ever. A couple entered the puppy wing, excited voices filling the space. They crouched near Bentley's kennel, smiling at him. "Oh, he's adorable," the woman said. Normally, Bentley would have turned, offered a wag, at least glanced. But today, he didn't look at them. Not once. His entire world narrowed to the man kneeling before him. The couple moved on when they got no reaction. Emily folded her arms gently. "He's really attached to you." The man hesitated slightly before speaking. "I don't usually come to places like this," he said quietly. Something in his tone made her pause. Not unfriendly, just fragile. He continued, "I drove past yesterday. Don't know why I stopped. But when I saw him, I felt like I had to come back." Bentley placed a paw through the bars again, touching the man's wrist. The man let out a shaky breath. Emily stepped closer, voice soft. "Animals pick up on things we don't always understand." The man's eyes softened on Bentley. "Yeah," he whispered. "Feels like he sees something in me." Bentley responded by leaning harder against the bars, nose tucked toward the man's hand. A quiet moment stretched out. Warm. Still. Almost healing. Emily broke the silence gently. "Would you like to spend time in one of the visiting rooms? You don't have to adopt. Just get to know him." The man looked unsure, then nodded. "Maybe just for a few minutes." Emily unlocked Bentley's kennel slowly. Bentley stepped out with unusual calm. No bouncing, no darting around like puppies normally do. Instead, he stayed close to the man's leg, brushing into him softly as they walked toward the small blue visiting room. Inside, the man sat on the floor. Bentley eased into his lap. No hesitation. Just a natural, purposeful lean like he belonged there. The man closed his eyes for a moment, hands resting on the puppy's back. Bentley exhaled and settled. Emily watched from the doorway. It didn't look like a first meeting. It looked like a reunion, one neither of them fully understood. When their time ended, the man stood slowly, placing Bentley back onto the floor. Bentley whined, a soft, pleading sound. The man knelt one more time. "I'll come back," he whispered. Bentley's tail thumped once. Emily felt that same knot in her chest, not worry but wonder. The man left with a quiet nod. The door chimed behind him, and Bentley. He returned to his kennel, sat down, and faced the entrance again. Waiting. Again. Rain tapped softly against the shelter windows the next morning. A calm, steady sound like fingers drumming lightly on glass. Emily arrived earlier than usual, wiping droplets from her jacket as she stepped inside. The hallway lights flickered to life, casting a warm yellow glow along the floor. She walked toward the puppy wing, coffee in hand. Her steps slowed before she even reached Bentley's kennel. There he was. Already awake. Already sitting. Already facing the same direction, as if the lobby door might open at any moment. His breakfast bowl from yesterday sat half-finished in the corner. Emily frowned. "Bentley," she whispered, easing closer. "You didn't eat again?" The puppy didn't look at the bowl. He didn't look at her either. He only listened. Still. Focused. Emily crouched beside the kennel and rested her hand on the bars. His ears flicked once. But he didn't turn. Rain pattered against the roof above, the soothing rhythm filling the quiet space. Still, she could feel tension in the air. A gentle, fragile tension that seemed to sit inside Bentley's tiny chest. "Okay," she breathed. "We need to figure out what's going on with you." She unlocked his kennel and let him out for morning potty time. Bentley walked, but not in his usual joyful hop-skip step. Instead, he stayed close but distracted, glancing back toward the building every few seconds. Emily knelt in the grassy run area. "Come here, boy." Bentley approached slowly, hesitant. His tail made a faint half-swing before dropping again. He nudged her knee with his nose, but even then, his body stayed angled toward the shelter entrance. "You're waiting for him," she murmured. Bentley's ears twitched. And in that moment Emily made a decision, one she thought would help. "You need to socialize a little," she said softly. "You can't put all your energy into one person. It's not healthy for you." She led him back inside, drying his paws with a towel. He tolerated it, but his head kept drifting toward the hallway. Later that morning a family arrived, parents with a little girl wearing a yellow raincoat and pink boots. They laughed as they stepped into the puppy wing, the child's voice echoing in bright little chirps. "Oh my gosh, look at this one," the girl squealed. Emily smiled. "This is Bentley. He's usually very friendly." Usually. The girl crouched near Bentley's kennel, fingers wiggling excitedly. "Hi, puppy." Bentley didn't move toward her. He didn't even blink in her direction. He kept staring past her, toward the hallway where the man had appeared before. Emily felt her stomach tighten. This wasn't normal puppy behavior. She opened the kennel door slowly. "Bentley, sweetheart, go say hi." "It's okay." He stepped out, but only a few inches. Then he stopped, turned, and looked back at the empty hallway again. The little girl frowned. "Does he not like me?" Emily softened her voice. "He's just a little distracted today." The mother offered a polite smile before guiding her daughter to another puppy. Bentley watched them leave, but he didn't follow or show any interest. Instead, he sat back down right beside Emily's feet, posture tight, waiting. Still waiting. Emily sighed softly and ran a hand down his back. "I know you want him," she whispered. "But I don't even know if he's coming." Bentley lowered his head and pressed it against her ankle. A small, tender gesture, but his body stayed tense. That afternoon, volunteers came to do enrichment rounds. They offered toys, treats, and little social interactions to each puppy in the wing. Bentley ignored every toy placed in front of him. A blue rope tug toy. A soft crinkle elephant. Even the peanut butter-filled Kong. Usually his favorite. He sniffed it, looked back at the hallway and turned away. One volunteer shook her head. Poor little guy might be shutting down emotionally. Emily hesitated. Bentley wasn't shutting down. He was focused. Completely, wholeheartedly focused on the man who kept showing up without explanation. But that wasn't what she told the volunteers. Instead, she said, "It's probably just stress from the shelter environment. He'll warm up once we redirect him." She believed it at first. Then she tried redirecting him. She took him to the little indoor playroom with soft mats and colorful toys scattered across the floor. "Okay, buddy," she said gently. "Let's get your mind off things." Bentley sniffed a ball, tapped it once with his paw, then sat down and stared at the door. Emily sat beside him, lowering her voice. Bentley, you can't keep doing this. His little chest rose and fell, steady but heavy. He leaned against her leg, but she could feel the distance in him. Not emotional distance, focus. Single-minded, instinctive focus. She stroked his ears gently. You're supposed to be a happy puppy. Puppies bounce. Puppies play. Bentley's tail shifted half an inch, then went still again. Emily glanced toward the clock. The man usually arrived around the same time each visit, late morning or early afternoon. It was almost that time now. She waited with Bentley in the playroom, feeling her own heart strangely tense. His behavior wasn't making sense, but it wasn't dangerous. Just deeply, silently emotional. She checked the hallway. Empty. She checked again 10 minutes later. Still empty. Bentley stood up suddenly. Ears pricked, body alert. Another sound. Another instinct. A moment later, the front door chimed. Bentley's tail rose, not wagging, just lifted as if drawn by a string. Emily swallowed. She already knew. Footsteps approached, slow and familiar. The man appeared in the doorway. Bentley walked straight to him, calm, purposeful, then sat at his feet. No whining. No trembling. Just presence. Quiet and full, like he belonged there. The man knelt. Hey, buddy. Bentley leaned gently into him. Emily watched the scene unfold, eyes softening with a mixture of relief and confusion. She had misread everything. This wasn't anxiety. This wasn't shutdown. This wasn't overstimulation. Bentley wasn't withdrawing from the world. He was choosing. And he was choosing this man over everyone else. The next afternoon felt unusually calm at the shelter. Soft sunlight spilled across the kennels, and the usual chatter from the volunteers had quieted into a gentle hum. But the moment Mia walked through the door, every bit of calmness vanished for one tiny creature. Luna, the little golden-brown shelter puppy, launched herself toward the front of her kennel, paws scraping, tail wagging so hard it looked like it might fall off. She whined, then barked softly, then pressed her entire face into the gap between the bars. Mia laughed nervously. Hey, you again. You really don't give up, do you? But as soon as she knelt down, Luna pushed her nose into Mia's hands and refused to move. Not a twitch. Not a shift. Just a trembling, determined stillness. Like she was holding onto something she absolutely couldn't lose. The staff noticed. Sarah, the senior caretaker, stood a few feet away with her arms crossed. This is the 4th day, she whispered. She doesn't react like this to anyone else. Mia tried to pull her hands back gently, but Luna whimpered and clung even harder. A tiny emotional jolt ran through Mia's chest. A feeling she didn't expect. A familiarity she couldn't explain. Why are you acting like you already know me? Mia whispered, brushing Luna's soft ear. The puppy looked up at her with wide, searching eyes, not excited now, but serious, almost pleading. Suddenly Luna stepped back, barked once and nudged a small worn tag lying in the corner of her kennel. Mia blinked. What's that? She asked. The staff leaned in. Mia reached for it with shaking fingers. The second she flipped it over, her breath caught in her throat, because the name engraved into the metal tag was one she never expected to see connected to a shelter puppy. And in that moment, everything inside her shifted. Mia held the small metal tag in her hands, and the room around her seemed to fade into a soft, distant blur. Her fingers trembled. Her breath slowed. Luna watched her carefully, almost too carefully. The engraving was simple. Just a name. One single, ordinary name. But to Mia it wasn't ordinary at all. Harper, she whispered. The puppy's ears lifted at the sound of it, as if the name itself meant something to her too. Sarah stepped closer. Do you recognize it? Mia nodded, though her voice felt like it belonged to someone else. Harper was my dad's dog. Years ago. Before. She paused, swallowing the lump rising slowly in her throat. Before he passed. She rubbed her thumb across the smooth metal surface. The edges were worn, almost polished by time, as if someone had held it over and over, refusing to let it go. Luna let out a soft whine. Then she did something strange. She pressed her forehead gently against Mia's knee. Still. Quiet. Almost reverent. Mia's eyes softened. You're too young to be related to Harper. But why do you have this? No one had an answer. Sarah lifted the kennel logbook. She flipped through the entries, frowning slightly. Mia, look at this. She turned the book so Mia could see the intake notes. Luna was found 3 blocks from your old family home. Right near the edge of the woods. Mia's breath shivered. That's impossible. But Luna stepped forward again, slow, steady, knowing, and placed a tiny paw on Mia's hand. Almost as if to say, it's not impossible. I came for you. I've always been coming for you. Mia blinked back, rising emotion. Her voice came out in a cracked whisper. Were you looking for me? Luna's tail thumped once. Then again. Then faster. But the moment stayed gentle, warm. Almost sacred. Sarah exhaled slowly. I've worked here for 12 years, she said quietly. I've never seen a puppy choose someone this intensely. Mia leaned closer. And Luna leaned closer still. Their breaths synced. Their stillness matched. Their connection pulsed, quiet, undeniable, almost old. Yet beneath all that warmth, a question lingered in the air. A question Mia wasn't ready to ask. Because deep down, something told her this wasn't just a coincidence. Something connected them. Something deeper, older, something she couldn't yet see. And as Mia finally lifted Luna into her arms, holding the trembling puppy against her chest, Luna released a tiny, relieved sigh. The kind a soul gives when it finally finds home. Even if the human hasn't realized it yet. But outside the shelter in the nearby woods, a discovery waited. One that would explain everything. One that would reveal why Luna had been searching so desperately. One that would finally show Mia what her father tried to leave behind. And that revelation was coming sooner than she expected. The afternoon sunlight had softened into a warm gold by the time Mia stepped out of the shelter with Luna cradled in her arms. The air felt mild, almost nostalgic, like a memory brushing against her skin. Luna stayed pressed to her chest, steady and strangely calm. No trembling now. No frantic whines. Just a soft, rhythmic breathing. As if being held by Mia finally allowed her little body to rest. Sarah followed them to the gate. You don't have to take her home yet, she said gently. You can just sit with her for a bit. Let her settle. But Mia shook her head slowly. It's not that, she whispered. She wants to show me something. Luna lifted her head at those words. Her ears perked. Her eyes sharpened. Sarah frowned. What do you mean? Mia looked down at the tag still clutched in her hand. Harper used to take my dad into the woods every morning. Same path. Same routine. There's no way she'd know that. She inhaled shakily. But she keeps looking toward the tree line. As if on cue, Luna twisted gently in Mia's arms and stared past the shelter, toward the quiet fringe of the forest. A tiny, deliberate woof escaped her. Not fear. Not excitement. A signal. See, Mia whispered. Sarah watched them, uncertainty flickering in her eyes, but also belief, the kind that grows slowly after witnessing something impossible. Be careful, she finally said. Those woods get dark fast. Mia nodded. I won't go deep. Just far enough to see why she keeps choosing me. Luna stretched her neck forward, urging her toward the path. So Mia followed. The woods greeted them with the soft rustle of early evening. Dry leaves underfoot. A distant bird call. A cool, earthy smell rising from the soil. Luna didn't pull or squirm, she guided. A gentle nudge of her nose. A shift of her body. A quiet look over her shoulder as if checking Mia was still with her. Every few steps she paused, listened, then moved again. Mia whispered. You know this place, don't you? Luna's tail gave a slow, steady wag. They reached a fallen log Mia remembered from years ago, one her dad used to rest on during long walks. She felt her heart squeeze. This was his favorite spot, she murmured. Luna stepped up to the log. She sniffed once, twice, then pawed gently at the soil beneath it. Mia's breath caught. Hey, what is it? The puppy pawed again, more insistently now. Mia knelt and brushed aside the leaves. A small wooden box lay half buried in the earth, edges softened by time, lid damp with years of weather. Her heart thumped slow then fast. Luna sat beside her, still anticipating, as if she already knew what was inside. Mia lifted the box with trembling hands. The latch gave with a soft click. Inside lay a collection of faded, weather-worn items. A folded photo. A piece of her father's handwriting. A collar that looked heartbreakingly familiar, old, frayed, and engraved with a name. Harper. Mia's throat tightened. Her breath unsteady. Luna pressed her tiny body against Mia's leg, anchoring her. Quiet. Steady. Present. Mia held the collar in both hands. He kept this here, she whispered. All this time. Luna leaned closer, placing a paw on Mia's knee. And for a moment the woods fell silent. No breeze. No birds. Just the soft, shared heartbeat between a grieving daughter and the small creature who somehow brought her back to the place she needed to find. Mia looked into Luna's eyes, warm, searching, familiar in a way she still couldn't name. You led me here, she whispered. How? Why? Luna nuzzled her again, gentle, intentional, as if trying to connect pieces Mia wasn't ready to see. And just as Mia closed the box again, overwhelmed but steadied by the puppy's calm presence, Luna suddenly stiffened. Her ears pricked. Her nose lifted. Her body leaned toward the deeper woods. Not in fear. In recognition. Something or someone had left a trail. And Luna was ready to follow it. What she sensed next would take the story in a direction Mia never expected. The woods had grown quieter, almost too quiet, as Mia cradled the box against her chest. Even the breeze felt still. Waiting. Luna stood a few steps ahead, body perfectly focused. Her ears leaned forward. Her nose lifted. Her little frame angled toward the deeper trees, toward a direction Mia hadn't walked since she was a child. Luna, what is it? Mia whispered. The puppy didn't bark. She didn't whine. She simply looked back at Mia with an intensity far too deep for her size, and took one step forward. Then another. Then she stopped and waited, patient, calm, inviting Mia to follow. Mia hesitated. The deeper part of the woods had always made her uneasy. Her dad used to walk Harper out there, but he never took her with him. He'd always say, "Not today, Mia. This path is Harper's job." She never understood what he meant. Until now. Luna gave a soft, encouraging sound. A tiny breath that felt like a whisper against the stillness. Mia exhaled shakily. Okay. I'm with you. She stepped forward. The light changed as they moved deeper in. Branches arched overhead, filtering the sun into soft beams. The air grew cooler, scented with pine and damp earth. Luna walked slower now. More deliberate. Not exploring, leading. Every few steps she paused, listened, then nudged her nose toward the left, guiding Mia gently but purposefully. It felt like following a memory she didn't know she had. Mia clutched her father's box tighter. Why this way? She murmured. Why now? Luna stopped. Her body went still. Not tense but focused. A quiet certainty radiated from her tiny frame. Up ahead, the trees opened into a small clearing. Mia gasped softly. She knew this place. Or rather, she remembered being turned away from it. Her dad's voice echoed softly in her memory. This spot is special, sweetheart. One day you'll understand. But for now, let Harper show me the way. Her throat tightened. Dad, she whispered. Luna walked straight to the center of the clearing. There, half hidden under fallen leaves and wild grass, stood a weathered stone marker. Small. Natural. Carved by hand. Mia's breath trembled as she brushed the moss away. Her fingers froze. Because there, carved into the smooth stone, was a familiar name. Harper. A quiet gasp escaped her. Not sharp. Not loud. Just a soft release of held-in emotion of years she never knew she had missed. Oh, she whispered. Oh, Luna. This is where he buried her. Luna stepped close, almost reverently, and rested her paw near the stone. Her tail didn't wag. She didn't try to play. She simply honored the moment, the way an old soul would. Mia sank slowly to her knees. Her hands touched the stone. A warmth rose in her chest, grief, comfort, memory, and something else she couldn't name. "How did you know?" she whispered. Luna leaned into her side, small body pressing close. A soft whine, a gentle nuzzle, as if offering pieces of a story Mia had lost. Mia closed her eyes. "I wasn't here when she passed. Dad told me later, and I didn't want to see the grave. I was too young, too scared." A tear slipped down her cheek. Luna licked it away, slow, careful, as if soothing an old wound instead of a fresh one. Mia breathed out. A long, unsteady exhale. "I'm sorry, Harper," she whispered. "I should have come back. I should have." But Luna leaned harder into her. And that small, steady weight told her she wasn't late. She was finally here. When Mia opened her eyes again, Luna was looking at her with a certainty that felt ancient. "Mia," she seemed to say, "you didn't lose everything. You found the peace that was meant to return." Because the truth wasn't just about Harper's grave. It was about why Luna had chosen her. Why Luna had been found near her old home. Why Luna held Harper's tag when no one else could explain it. Luna wasn't replacing Harper. She was continuing her work. And what she guided Mia to next would reveal a truth even deeper than the clearing itself. A truth her father had left behind. One last message waiting to be uncovered. And Luna was ready to lead her there. The sun had dipped low, brushing the shelter yard in gold. Dust motes floated lazily through the warm light, and the soft rustle of leaves whispered a calm lullaby. Emma watched from the edge of the kennel row, hands tucked into her sweater pockets, heart quietly racing. The little puppy, a caramel-colored ball of fur named Toby, sat rigid, ears tilted, eyes fixed. He wouldn't move. Not forward, not backward. His tail was stiff, his body tense, but there was no growl. Only alertness. Only expectation. Emma knelt slowly, careful not to startle him. "Hey Toby, it's okay," she murmured, voice soft. He tilted his head, sniffing the air. Then came the subtle movement that stopped her heart. A tiny whine. It wasn't random. It wasn't the usual "I want attention" whine. There was urgency there. A pull. Something beyond the kennel walls was drawing him. Emma's eyes followed his gaze. And then she saw her. A woman walked along the sidewalk outside the shelter, someone Emma had noticed only occasionally. She had kind eyes, a quiet presence, and today her movements were deliberate. She carried a small tote bag, a notebook tucked inside. When she paused, Toby's little body stiffened further. His tail flicked once, twice. Then he leaped forward as far as the leash allowed, barking with sharp excitement. Emma's breath caught. "Toby, wait." But Toby wasn't just excited. He was insistent. Protective. He had chosen her. The woman looked up, startled, eyes wide. "Oh, hi," she said softly, stepping closer to the fence. Her voice was gentle, almost reverent. Toby whined again, a pleading, joyful sound, pawing at the chain link with all his might. Emma stepped back, letting the moment breathe. The staff around them murmured, noticing Toby's unusual behavior. Nobody had seen this intensity before. The woman smiled and knelt slightly, holding out her hand. "It's okay, little guy," she whispered. And something miraculous happened. Toby stopped barking. His tail relaxed. He sniffed her hand, pressed his forehead to it, then looked back at Emma, almost apologetically. Emma felt her throat tighten. A realization dawned slowly, warmly, like sunlight breaking through clouds. Toby hadn't been random. He hadn't been misbehaving. He had been signaling, guiding, choosing. The staff gathered quietly, understanding washing over them. This wasn't just puppy affection. This was recognition, connection, destiny. Emma knelt beside Toby, placing a hand on his back. I think he's been waiting for her," she whispered. Toby leaned into her touch for just a second, as if to say, "I knew you'd understand." The woman's eyes glistened. "I've been coming here for weeks," she admitted softly. I didn't know he'd notice me like this. Toby barked once, short and sharp, then sat, eyes fixed, alert. The tension in his small body melted into a calm, almost spiritual focus. Emma's heart swelled. Everything finally made sense. The signs, the hesitation, the repeated behavior. It had all been leading here. And for the first time, the shelter felt like a place where magic was quietly, beautifully real. Toby's instinct had revealed the truth. He had found the person meant for him. And in that golden light, with autumn leaves swirling around their feet, Emma knew the bond they were witnessing was unbreakable. A soft breeze carried the distant sounds of the neighborhood. Children laughing, cars humming, dogs barking. But here, in this small pocket of warmth, only one story mattered. One heart-touching connection that had chosen its human. Moments later, everything changed.